Okay, so yesterday I posted 2 videos where I got super duper emotional, and I apologize for that. I want to start by saying that what I posted last, I don't need pity for, and I hope that nobody took that to mean that like I'm trying to feel sorry for myself or whatever. That was just me sort of expressing where some of the struggles that I still have like started. So please don't like think that I'm just sad, pitiful little person and, woe is me or whatever. That's not ever, generally, that's not my perspective. If I get in those moods, then I usually stay there for like 10, 15 minutes, and then I'm like, okay, this is not benefiting anybody, I'm done. So I'm in my car sitting here waiting while Colt is in speech, so I thought I'd do a video. Mercy and I recorded one last night to post today, but my phone ate it, which has kind of been a typical issue here lately. It's not playing very, very nice. So anyway, I wanted to kind of continue on and talk about like some more of the things that just my testimony over the years. When I was almost 7 years old, I came to know Jesus as my Savior. I remember feeling just that urge in my heart when I was really small, and making that 7-mile journey down front and praying with our pastor. And I know that a lot of times the whole go to the front and say the prayer kind of thing is not legitimate and not genuine. But I think for me it was because there was a change in my heart. Even though I was not a terrible person, even though I wasn't like this really, bad kid or anything, I knew that there was a change because I was excited about Jesus. I knew he was with me, and I felt his presence like in ways that I don't think, when you're an innocent little kid, it's so much different than when you're an adult. So anyway, I got in trouble for telling my teacher and everybody in my class about Jesus. So, my teacher called me down and said I had to stop talking about Jesus so much. But that was first grade. And I was involved in church for forever. I was in the choir when I think I started singing in the choir when I was like 4 or 5, which is really funny. But I learned melodies and harmonies. It was just sort of a natural thing for me. And somewhere around the time that like the teenage years is when I started kind of questioning my faith and questioning whether or not God was real. Even though I knew without a shadow of a doubt he was real, I don't know, there was something about, there was just this allure, I guess, without, I don't know any other way to describe it, but sort of just an appeal of looking for other, looking into other religions and being able to say that this is the right one, this is the real one. And so I kind of started questioning things, and I remember we went on before that, my senior year, I was trying to determine what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to be part of the music program, and I'd been praying about that for a long time, that I was going to major in music. But I wanted to know what God wanted, and again, this was sort of testing to see if he's real. And so I remember like earnestly seeking him and asking, what should I do with my life? And I said, I need a sign. And I know we're not supposed to ask for signs. We're just supposed to trust. But I did. I asked for a sign. It was not the right thing to do, but he showed up. So this was on a Sunday. And later that day, I had a recital with my piano teacher. And at the recital, I got an anonymous scholarship to UNCG School of Music, which I'd already been accepted to for music performance. And so it was a huge thing. It was obviously the sign that I'd been asking for, but I didn't necessarily receive it like that. And I think that the devil was kind of bringing up some of the things that I heard when I was a kid, and some of the things that I experienced when I was a kid that I can't I'm not going to talk about on here, but he was like using that and bringing it back to my mind, like, where was this God? Where was Jesus then? Like, how could a God who loves you let these things happen? And so just like so many kids, when you get into college, you're away from home and you're not necessarily being held accountable by your parents. Even though I did live at home with my parents during college, I didn't necessarily live at home. I was gone all the time. I worked a lot. I ended up dropping out of school after 2 years, and I was working 3 jobs while I was in school. At one point in time, I would get up in the morning and go work at a doctor's office, and then I would go to school, and then when I'd get off that, I'd go work at the mall, and then I had another job at the mall. So anyway, lots of work, lots of things that was going on, and I was just supporting a lifestyle of alcohol and drugs and things that I didn't need to be in any part of. But I think that those insecurities about who I was that the devil kept bringing up made me more susceptible to being preyed upon, I guess. I mean, I kind of jumped from relationship with a guy to relationship with a guy to relationship with a guy. I was never single very long, and I think it was just about feeling like I was valid, you know, as a girl, as a person. And I don't think it had anything to do with dad issues. My dad loved me and still does. I mean, he has been an amazing part of my life for forever. No, he wasn't always there because he was a long distance truck driver, and there were 5 kids in my family, and my mom stayed home with us. So obviously, you know, he couldn't be there all the time. But I never in a million years felt like I was not loved by a male. So I don't think that was it. I think it was just how I received, how I kind of allowed the enemy to get into my mind and start turning the things that I'd learned about myself through my relationship with Jesus. He turned that around and made me question things. And so during those years that I was walking away from the Lord, I would still have conversations with God, and I would still talk to him, even though I was denying him in my life and denying him in a lot of the things that I was doing, and to a lot of the people I was talking to. I still knew that God was God, and I knew he was there. And but you know, it was a distant relationship. It was not something that I was pursuing heavily. And I remember in November of 2010, I got pregnant, and I did not want to tell anybody. Like I said, still living with my parents, and I lied to them, said that I wasn't pregnant, but I got so sick that I could not hide it anymore. And I was working for a company in Greensboro at the time that makes big steel wall tanks for gasoline companies, and I was kind of like I did basically everything there. They had salespeople and they had manufacturers, but as far as office work, I did all of it. I mean, sometimes I would even set up the production schedule and things like that. But when I got pregnant, I was so sick that I ended up having to be put in the hospital. And they told me there that if my blood pressure did not improve, when I got there, my blood pressure was like 83/38, and I was swollen, my skin was cracked. I'd not been able to keep anything down for about a week. I mean, I was, honestly, it was like life or death kind of thing. And I was about 8 weeks pregnant with Mercy at the time. And I remember them saying, you know, if your blood pressure doesn't come up within 24 hours, we'll have to take your baby. And I was so anti-abortion, even though I had gone so, thrown everything that I knew to the wind as far as like lifestyle choices and things like that. I had been living like a really, whatever, junky life at that time. I still was not going to give up on my baby. So, I prayed, and God really pulled through. I mean, within 24 hours, everything was starting to turn around. My veins were still collapsing. I was having trouble, you know, keeping fluids in, even still, and still sick. But after about 5 days in the hospital, I was allowed to go home. Still fighting the sickness stuff, and there was more to that, which I'll talk about later. But during the time that I was pregnant, I ended up losing my job in February over some different things. The fact that I couldn't even stay at work for a full day. I was getting the work done, but I wasn't there to do, you know, to just be a presence in the office. And so I was terminated. And I remember I had gotten a car the summer before and had car payments and things like that. And I was not going to ask my parents for help with anything. I did not want them to pay for anything because they were already letting me stay there. They were already taking care of me. They were making sure that I was being fed well. My mom was cooking really good meals because I was pregnant, and she wanted me to be healthy, and she wanted the baby to be healthy. And I was a twig at the time. I was like 114 pounds, and I'm 5'8", so that's a really, really skinny person. But it was not necessarily the most healthy situation for me. But I remember after I lost my job, had a car payment due, had car insurance due, and I had enough money to I looked at my bank account and I did not have any money. And I remember I'd already been turning back to the Lord, like, I'm so sorry, I've not been living for you, and you Jesus died for me. How dare I go and just live this life that is all about what I want and what I feel like is better for me. So I was walking in places that I shouldn't walk, and so I turned away from that, and I cut off basically all my friends. And some of you are my Facebook friends now, so you can attest to that. I did not stay in contact with you when I was pregnant. But some of you are now in similar situations where you're either walking with the Lord, or you have a family and you have kind of a different take on life now. So anyway, I remember all these bills were due: car insurance, car payment, and I did not have money. I mean, I didn't have a job, I didn't have money. So I was flat out on my parents' couch, sick as a dog still, just not able to do a whole lot. You can't get a job when you're showing pregnant. Granted, I didn't really show that much, but when you're so sick, it's really hard to find a job. So I'm lying on my parents' couch, and I'm like, Lord, I don't know what to do. I don't have money to pay this bill, and I do not want to impose on my parents anymore. They're already supporting me like so much, and I don't want to put anything else on them. So I begged God, I need you to provide. Your word says you're my provider, and so I have to trust you in that, and I don't know what to do, but I have these bills due, and I need this money. So I got up from the couch, and I saw that the mail ran. I went out to the mailbox, and there was a check from my cell phone provider in the mail in the exact amount of my car payment and car insurance, and I think there was a little bit of money left over to put gas in the car. So it was completely miraculous. Who gets money back from their cell phone, people? Apparently it had been where I'd made a deposit when I first got the phone, and my credit had not been established, but because I'd made regular, paid my bill on time, they gave me a refund of that deposit. So it was really just God. I mean, that doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen like that. So that I wanted to share, just to kind of say that I learned at that time, and have had to learn that lesson over and over again, that God really is your provider. When you call out to him and when you ask for his help and you trust him fully, then he will indeed meet your needs. That's what he's there for. He loves you, and he may meet them in a way that is unexpected, and he may actually allow you to go through a little bit of a skinny time, because it's about strengthening your faith and building perseverance and allowing your character to grow and allowing your faith to grow and allowing your dependence on him to become stronger. Because if he gave you everything that you needed all the time, well in advance, then we probably would not give him credit. We probably would think it was just, we didn't need him. So that is all I want to say for today. And yeah, story continues. So Pregnant with Mercy at that point. We'll talk about the rest tomorrow. Okay, bye.